Hello, welcome to Feasting on the Word for this week. It is April the 24th, 2024, and here we are immersing ourselves in this ancient discipline of our faith, whereby we take the smallest passage of Scripture and just spend and invest ourselves in that little passage of Scripture to appreciate what it says. So how do we go about doing this simple exercise? Well, like I said, a small passage of Scripture, and we read that 4 times in sequence with only silence interspersed. So we read it once and then follow it with a minute of silence. We read it another time, follow it with another minute. Read it a third time, follow that with 3 minutes of silence, and then complete the exercise with the fourth and final reading. The longer period of silence after the third reading is intended as an opportunity for us to turn to God in prayer. So that's having heard this piece of Scripture 3 times, to take our impressions of it to God in conversation. Conversation with God is called prayer. So that's how the passage is challenging us, inspiring us, encouraging us, confusing us, whatever it might be. As I've said before, I find it helpful to have something to write with and something to write on nearby, so as the Scripture is read through those first 3 times, I can write down my impressions and then use that in my conversation with God, in my prayer in that longer period of silence. I update the discipline a little bit from its ancient form by using 4 different translations of the same passage. I begin with the New Revised Standard Version, then use the Message. The third reading is the Contemporary English Version, and then I finish it with the New International Version. So we're hearing the same passage, but just a little bit different each time, hopefully allowing us to again appreciate what it says. Let's jump into our discipline for this week. The passage is just 2 verses long. Like I said, a tiny little piece of Scripture. It comes to us from Paul's letter to the church in Rome. So that's Romans chapter 13, verses 8 through 10, and we begin with the New Revised Standard Version. Owe no one anything except to love one another, for the one who loves another has fulfilled the law. The commandments, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not murder, you shall not steal, you shall not covet, and any other commandment are summed up in this word: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Love does no wrong to a neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfilling of the law. Our second reading of Romans chapter 13, verses 8 through 10 from the Message. Don't run up debts, except for the huge debt of love you owe each other. When you love others, you complete what the law has been after all along. The law code: don't sleep with another person's spouse, don't take someone's life, don't take what isn't yours, don't always be wanting what you don't have, and any other don't you can think of, finally adds up to this: love other people as well as you do yourself. You can't go wrong when you love others. When you add up everything in the law code, the sum total is love. Our third reading of Romans chapter 13, verses 8 through 10 from the Contemporary English Version. Let love be your only debt. If you love others, you have done all that the law demands. In the law, there are many... In the law, there are many commands such as be faithful in marriage, do not murder, do not steal, do not want what belongs to others. But all of these are summed up in the command that says, love others as much as you love yourself. No one who loves others will harm them. So love is all that the law demands. Our fourth and final reading of Romans chapter 13, verses 8 through 10 from the New International Version. Let no debt remain outstanding, except the continuing debt to love one another. For whoever loves others has fulfilled the law. The commandments, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not murder, you shall not steal, you shall not covet, and whatever other command there may be, are summed up in this one command: love your neighbor as yourself. Love does no harm to a neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfillment of the law. This is the inspired word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.